Hey, what are you doing here?
I'm drinking coffee, talking to you. I'm scanning the web. If you're going to train for something, you got to train for something.
Then I'd basically be qualified to suffer the massive climb and massive descent the rest of the way.
That's not fun anymore. But we don't have to just talk about ultra running, right?
Maybe I need to just shoot for the 100.
Do whatever. It's more fun. It's like less stressful too.
And then think about what did I step on along the way.
What? Did you just say what? That's pretty funny. See, I'm not doing 5 races a year now because I love my family. So great. It's wonderful. He's not doing his races. We feel so bad. Talk about anything we want. Like, did you wake up? Did you take a crap this morning? How was it? Things like that. I think that's all I want to really talk about is, we can involve a lot of people and maybe take some questions.
Yeah, this is the Ultra Diner.
The Ultra Diner.
Welcome to the Ultra Diner podcast. I'm your co-host, Ruel, and on the other line, we have the best voice in podcast radio, working now and in the history of podcast radio, Tony Portera. How you doing, Pumpkin?
Now or any time in the history of podcasting.
I knew I'd mess that up.
Pumpkin is doing great. Pumpkin is doing great.
And Pumpkin is...
Who are our sponsors? No sponsors. We're not sponsored by anyone. We're too good to be sponsored by anybody.
That's right. We don't fall for any of that sponsorship stuff. We're just this really long diner counter. You're at one end of the counter in New York, and I'm in California, and we're just gonna have a cup of coffee and we just talk.
I love it. Except I'm not drinking coffee right now.
Oh God, I am. I need it.
I need some too, but it's all good. So how's everything been?
Everything's good. I'm on a running streak, believe it or not, for 2019. I'm good for 1 day. That's my streak.
That's your streak. Your 1 day streak. Have you ever done that? Have you ever done that thing? That running streak thing? Have you ever done that? Have you ever
I've thought about it.
Set out to do that.
I've thought about it. It sounds interesting. Our friends over at 10 Junk Miles, the podcast, Scotty Coomer and all those guys. They're doing their thing where they're having folks track their run streaks, and if you fall off, get back on. I was listening to an episode where they were talking about what the criteria was. Like your first mile had to at least be like faster than the 14-minute mile, and then I think everything else just whatever. I don't know if you caught any of that.
I don't know. What's the point of that? Isn't that like a recipe for disaster, right? Shouldn't you have some like recovery and stuff like that, a day off? Like,
oh yeah. I mean, I get it. I think what their conversation had to do with trying to just develop a habit for the sake of developing an exercise routine or a habit around running. How about you? Have you done any of that stuff? Streaking?
No, I need to I need to take a break sometime. I mean, like you run 100 miles. Like I've had friends that do the running streak, and they'll go. I know one guy. He'll run a 100-mile race, and he'll have to get his mile in the next day. Before he leaves for the airport. Like it's like an important thing. There's a freaking like club that you pay a membership fee for. I don't know what the fee is. But you know what their motto is? Through weather, injury, illness, and life events, we run every day.
Wow. So
like what happens is, I got to go in for surgery. I just had surgery. I got to get my mile in. Like, I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. It's just me.
If I didn't have other things to that just out of my control, I'd do that. But I've got appointments and kids and all this stuff, and the flu kicks in. Ain't gonna happen. But it's interesting, I like saying that I have a streak, even though it's just one run.
Well, come up with something else. Go to church or temple or something, or start one of those streaks. You know what the longest current streak is in the United States?
No, what?
See if you can guess what the longest current streak is listed on this runeveryday.com website. See if you can come close.
Huh. Well, I don't know, but I have a good streak taking a dump, like at least once a day. So I'm pretty good there.
And what if you miss a day? You're gonna like push it out? Or like what happens if you're close? It's like it's all towards the end, maybe it's not worked out for you today. Well, what happens? You're gonna get one of those like coffee enema things and
No, it's a bacon enema. That's what usually does it.
A what? What did you just say? Bacon?
A bacon. Someone posted a graphic on one of the Facebook groups. It's actually the Vinny group, where it was actually an illustration on how to apply an enema, like one of those products, and the graphic was altered so that whenever it mentioned the product, they just replaced the product with bacon. So, yeah, good stuff.
All right, I don't want to rip on the streakers, man. I don't. So shout out to my friend Steven Tersey, who I've known forever. 2,961 day running streak.
Wow!
Big shout out to him. He's gaining on the current active leader of 18,000 days.
Wow!
18,153 days.
You know what? If I was that regimented, I'd probably not be dead last in some of the runs that I participate in. I'd have a level of I have better performance, I think, but I just don't. I don't.
I got a 10-day streak going right now. I'm on 10. I'm 9 ahead of you.
Oh man, I got work to do.
Yeah, you do.
On days that I can't run, I wish I could get on a bike. I mean, I can get on a bike. I can get on the contraption that allows you to just keep the bike stationary, so you can like bike in your garage or something. What do they call trainers or?
Yeah, one of those trainers. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can get on one of those, but there's no way that I can put that data in, like Strava or something, just for my own personal tracking. So, I don't know. It's February. Isn't there a tradition for you as far as your race calendar? You make your way all the way to Las Vegas for an event?
Yeah, traditionally I do. I'm actually registered for two 200 milers right now, and it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do either one of them. It's kind of that time in life that a lot of people get to where they have children who reach the age of college applications. And so I have a junior and a senior, and the senior's gotten into a bunch of schools and she needs to go see a bunch of them. So you got to make a choice sometimes on the travel, and it looks like for at least for the Jackpot 100, which is an awesome race out in Henderson, Nevada, in the Vegas area. That coincides with winter break over here in New York. So we'll use that opportunity to go visit some college campuses with her.
Ah, okay. More sacrifices that you got to make on your running.
You got to do it. Listen, you got to do it. People make sacrifices every day, right?
Yeah.
It's a good thing. Tomorrow, you're going to sacrifice your running streak and you're going to give it up.
I'm so bad. I packed my gear today. I packed my gear today, and I don't know. It's going to happen. We'll see, depending on how busy it gets at the office.
Very nice, very nice. Are you running any races coming up? What are you doing?
What was it? In a couple Saturdays, it's the Lake Chabot Red Tail Ridge 50K. That's the one that I've done the past couple of years. Both dead last.
That's
I get
okay.
I get this dead last trophy of a rear end of a horse or a mule or something. And I hate it every time. I love that I finished the course, but I hate being that guy at the end. And I don't know what this year is going to be like because I'm only one run in as far as workouts. So I've been trying to just, I've been dealing with a hip injury around the time I had the flu, and I thought it was a sign of really bad breakdown. Fortunately, I'm over that. It was a strained adductor or something or other, but I got over that. So then once that was cleared out, I started trying to get some more blood flow and stretching and, some exercise in, just to give me some sort of chance to complete the course again this year.
All right. Well, when is that race again?
That's a couple Saturdays from today. So that's
excellent.
I don't know. So, I played with the idea, what if I just scaled it back to I think they have a 35K distance. And just because I kind of wimp out, I feel like, man, if I could just head back with everybody else, because what happens is folks split off. The 35Ks head back a different direction, and then 50K continues on, and with me being at the tail end, it gets really lonely. And sometimes I wish, I wish I could head back with everybody else. But the other thought is that I'd do that, and then I'd feel like I'm missing out on something, I'd be missing out on a level of suffering that I could really, really cherish. But it's that split dilemma of, I don't want to suffer, but I do want to suffer. Does that make sense?
Sounds like you're trying to talk yourself out of something. You haven't even started yet. What did you register for? Did you register already?
I'm going to register for the 50K.
There you go. Enough said. Don't even think about it again. You're on a 50K. It's over.
Okay. Well,
forget about it. Don't think too much about that kind of stuff. Just go. You want to do the 50K? Register for the 50K. Put some good podcasts on your iPod, whatever you run with, and you got 50K worth.
Speaking of podcasts, I just wanted to mention, I've been listening to two podcasts that I really enjoy, but then recently the host has been talking about cutting meat from his diet because maybe he wants to get in shape or improve health. So these two podcasts that I really enjoy, both these hosts are talking about cutting meat from their diet, and I'm like, I don't think I can listen to these podcasts anymore.
What podcasts are those?
Eric Schramm's podcast, the URP, Ultra Runner podcast. You started talking about it on an episode. I'm like, really? Do I have to stop listening to URP now because he's talking about cutting meat? But
we don't have to stop listening to it. Just don't listen to that part of it.
Yeah, and then the other one is the Joe Coy, the Koi Pond. You see the comedian. Yeah.
I got a few good ones that I've been listening to that are awesome.
What are they?
So, there's a new one that just came out within the last couple months. I was actually on an episode of it called the Marathon Investigation Podcast. Pretty interesting. And there's a couple episodes that are really, really interesting, but it's Scotty Coomer, right? He does 10 Junk Miles, and Derek Murphy, who's the guy that runs the Marathon Investigation website and is actually involved with some races and checking results and flagging results that need to be looked at a little bit closer. And they've actually had some really good ones and some really good discussions about cheating in marathons. And I was on one that came out on January 11th. So that's a good one you should check out.
I'll check it out.
I've also been totally into two podcasts now also, in addition to the one I listen to of Vinny and Anna, but the Adam Carolla Show, which is really fun to listen to, and they come out pretty frequently. But Adam Carolla does a podcast with Mark Garagos. Have you heard this one called Reasonable Doubt?
I've heard of it. I haven't checked it out.
It's super good. It's an hour-long podcast, and they talk a lot mostly about legal issues that are current. It's pretty good, actually. So they talk about, they had one recently, they talked about the Fire Festival. Remember, they came out with two documentaries on the Fire Festival. So they were involved in I think Mark Geragos was involved in drafting a complaint, so they talked about all that kind of stuff in the civil case.
So do you find that you appreciate that type of podcast more because you sort of live and breathe in legal stuff?
Yeah, but it's kind of different, right? Because it's more like criminal stuff, right? And I don't really, like, while I was a prosecutor back a long time ago, I don't really live and breathe that portion of it. But I think, so you have Mark, who's an attorney, and then you have Adam Carolla that doesn't know much about, he's not. So they kind of get into some good discussions. They were recently talking about Aaron Hernandez, actually, which is kind of interesting because there's a new podcast out on him called Gladiator, which is, I just downloaded that. I heard it's pretty good. So gotta check those three out.
Hey, diners, how's it going? I hope you are enjoying that cup of coffee that is proudly served the Ultra Diner. Speaking of the Ultra Diner, if you like the podcast, please do share it with people you know. We would love it if you would head over to Apple Podcasts, give a rating and a review, and while we're at it, the Ultra Diner is online on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at Ultra Diner. One word, at the Ultra Diner.
So are these what you tune into when you're out on your run, or do you not listen to anything?
No, I'll listen to that, and I'll listen to some Audible books, stuff like that.
Oh,
typically.
What have you picked up on as far as Audibles? What have you listened to recently?
Well, I just got back into Audible because I kind of like turned it off right for a while because I wasn't listening to it that much.
Yeah,
but I did listen to Living with the Monks, as Jesse Hitler's new book, and also
how's that like?
It was pretty good, but it's kind of like it's pretty quick, not that long, like 7-hour. Audible, but the one I really liked was David Goggins' new book, Can't Hurt Me, which was super, super good. And the Audible portion of it had a crap ton of extra stuff, right? So it was almost like a podcast and an Audible book. So they would read part of a chapter or read a chapter, and then David will come on and they would discuss it and talk about it like in a kind of like a podcast format. And the other one I'm listening to now is called the Untethered Soul, which is kind of putting in the
uncovered soul?
Untethered, like, yeah. It's kind of putting me to sleep though, so I've kind of like moved over to more podcasts right now until I get my new credit coming up.
Yeah, the David Goggins book, I was like you, I switched it off the Audible for a while, but then when I saw the David Goggins book show up, I think there was some sort of thing where like just get it for free and get a first month free, one of those things. So then I reactivated my thing, got the David Goggins book, and I enjoyed that one. I know what you're talking about, the all the extras, and he and his I guess his ghostwriter or his co-writer going back and forth, sort of like a podcast fashion. It was great. I think that's probably the best way to get into that book. The audio.
Yeah, it's the same with me. His book coming out was kind of like the impetus to go back on and snag a month's worth of Audible, and then I was too lazy to cancel it after the first book, so I'm into my second month back, so we'll see how long I keep it.
And then once I did that, I finally finished another book that I left incomplete for a long time, which was Kitchen Confidential, the Anthony Bourdain book. That was a good book.
Oh, was it good? You liked it?
Yeah, I did. Obviously not have anything to do with running, but he's got a cool style, and he reads his own audiobook. So you forget that he actually passed away, because he has so much content out there on the audiobook and all of the reruns of the shows. It's like he's never gone. But that was a good one. And now I'm in the middle of The Road to Sparta, the Kernaz's book. Have you caught that one?
No, but I'll check it out for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I like the style. It reminds me of sort of a Christopher McDougall style where, stories will sort of get broken up and talk about random other stories and then get you back into the main storyline. I love that type of stuff.
Do you prefer non-running books and podcasts when you're running, or do you prefer running podcasts?
I do.
You prefer non-running?
I have a more non-running podcast. And I've got a few running podcasts that I used to listen to a lot, but they're just sitting in my thing and nothing's happening with them.
Yeah, I kind of prefer, like, now I think the non-running stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
more so, yeah.
When I feel like I need a little bit of a push, I'll put on some of the running chat type stuff, just sort of to remind myself, there's a certain feeling I get when I listen to the 10 Junk Miles gang show or something, and I hadn't thought about running for a while, and then they have a cool way of, just having a conversation, and running is a common thread, but they don't strictly talk about running all the time. They'll talk about, I don't know, beer.
That's for sure.
There was an episode where they opened up a package. I sent my wife and I sent them a package. My wife has an online bake shop, and we sent the care package over to 10 Junk Miles, and they cracked it open on an episode. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool hearing them just talk about, things like opening up packages and, random things that people send them. If it's not cookies, it's, socks, or I don't know. It's just cool. It just keeps you listening.
Someone wants to send me some cookies or some socks. I'll open it up on a podcast.
I thought.
What's your wife's bakery online? What's her
It's the chocolatedozen.com. I thought about sending you, I apologize I didn't send you a care package. I thought, Tony's not going to want our cookies.
What is it? A chocolate what?
He wants a keto brick. He doesn't want cookies.
Dude, have you had a keto brick?
No.
Have you had a keto brick?
I have not.
Awesome. I've had every flavor. I got about 20 of them sitting in this room. My daughter eats them too.
I'll send you a care package from the Chocolate Dozen, and then you can send me a brick.
The chocolate what? What is it?
The Chocolate Dozen, like a 12, right? Dozen.
Oh, the Chocolate Dozen.
Yeah, the Chocolate Dozen.
Well, isn't it all sugar though? I'm not going to eat that.
Oh yeah, see, it's all about it's a treat site. Nowhere do I say go to the Chocolate Dozen and eat it daily.
Let me tell you, I might just order some stuff. Look, I might order some stuff off of here. Look at this, the Valentine teddy bear gingerbread cookie. I mean, this may be a problem that I just pulled up this website. This may be a big problem. Pumpkin chocolate chip toffee cookies.
You get them, and then you give them to folks. You bribe folks around you who aren't NSMG. And it's not like you're going to give it out every day. It's a nice treat.
What is this?
Bribe.
The s'mores cookie cups.
Excuse me. Yeah.
All right. Add to cart. You can't. How can you not order from here? Look at this. The s'mores cookie cup. Like, this looks great.
Yeah, that's a problem that the site has. People look at it and they say the same thing. How can you not order from here?
Oh, she's doing a great job. This is great stuff. People should go buy this. 25% coupon code on National Cookie Day. When is National Cookie Day?
That's a good question. Isn't every day National Cookie Day?
It should be. 25% off on National Cookie Day here. Maybe that's today. Could it be today?
I got to check with her on that and gotta find out how we can also get coffee.
No, it's December. December is National Cookie Day. Forget it. It's over. What national day is today?
Well, I don't know. I'll have to check with her and find out if we can just make up our own national days of whatnot. Let's see, what is it? It says, receive 50% off.
Do you want to know what today is? According to the National Day calendar, February 5th happens to be National Shower with a Friend Day.
All right. So am I heading over there or coming over here?
Neither, my friend, but it's also World Nutella Day.
Oh, hell no. No, thank you.
Wow.
I'd rather shower with a friend.
So everybody, I hope on February 5th you all showered with a friend.
I just hope people showered, period.
Wow. Hey, listen, if you miss today, tomorrow, February 6th, it's National Frozen Yogurt Day. So we're in.
All right. There you go.
Now I'm obsessed with the national days. I'm obsessed with the national days. There we go. National Pizza Day. What's that? National Tortellini Day. I'm in. Look at this. This is great. I got a new website. Let's bookmark that. Perfect. Well, I'm going to order something from your wife's website because it looks really cool. And I'll order it for somebody else.
All right.
People should definitely check that out. TheChocolateDozen.com. That is really cool. I like that. I like it.
Thank you.
Good work.
Thank you.
So, did you see the Super Bowl?
I did. I saw first, second, and halftime show. Then I had to call the family back home from where we were at. Did you catch it?
You didn't miss anything. Yeah, it was actually the victory parade today was more exciting than the Super Bowl itself.
I mean, I watched it, and I'm not a big football fan, but I made a prediction, and it doesn't mean anything. But as I watched that first quarter, I'm thinking, you know what? Just trying to judge the energy. I'm thinking, I think the Patriots are going to score first. That's my successful Super Bowl. Me making a prediction.
That's an incredible prediction. You had a 50-50 shot at that one.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it awesome? God. I swear where I'm at, like, there's a gardener blowing every time. You probably can't hear it though.
No, I don't hear it at all. Nothing.
Okay.
Not a thing. And I moved, so I don't even live in like the neighborhood where people come and mow the lawn and stuff. I don't even have a lawn. I'm in like some townhouse over here.
So are you settled in a new place, like a new place, or are you sort of like in a transition kind of resident?
We're kind of like in limbo, right? Like half of our, like almost, probably 3/4 of our belongings are stuck in storage. And we're living in a townhouse until we can find a house that we'd like to move into, to buy and move into. So we're pretty much in limbo.
Did the decision to sell, is that because sort of I don't know, I'm just thinking, like, is it because the kids are going to head to college and you wanted to prepare yourselves to be closer to where they would all go to school, or what happened?
No, we moved like 15, 20 minutes away from where we were before. We moved into a different school district. We kind of got tired with our school district, and it's a little, I don't want to rag on it too much, but they've had 3 superintendents in 1 year, and they just suspended their most recent superintendent. And it's it hasn't been a good school district to us and to our children. So we
Gotcha.
We're just looking for a change, move to a different school district, and we had put our house on the market, and we were looking for a house, and it turns out we were able to find a buyer despite how ridiculous real estate taxes are here. And it came down to like, okay, we better start looking at renting something because the prospects for buying a house aren't that great. So we're kind of just getting back into now we're waiting on the spring market, and hopefully it'll be good, and we'll find something we like. Yeah,
the whole school, there's a lot of things that no one teaches you when you have a family. All of there's the stereotypical, get a job and get married, have a family, and live happily ever after. But no one tells you about all of the things, like the logistics and the things like school districts that you got to think about. You know, we love our school district right now for the kids for how old they are, and the thought of moving and leaving this school district scares the crap out of me because of horror stories in other areas, and it sucks because where we're at, it's not cheap. So it's sort of that sacrifice of, well, we're just gonna have to just, you know, deal with the high cost of living here just so that the kids can be in a school district that you know, will treat them right.
Oh, it's good you found a good one. I mean, there's gonna be like negatives anywhere you go. Like, there's no perfect place, right? There's never like that perfect place. There's always something somewhere that's, you know, that's going on. But it's good that you like your school district now. And, you know, ours was kind of like, we were in that school district for most of our kids' time. So, you know, moving from the school district was difficult, but it was kind of necessary.
Yeah. I once tweeted at the superintendent for not getting back to my emails because I was having an issue with one of the schools where one of my kids were at, and I pulled a thing where I'm like, you know what, I'm tweeting at you using my podcast profile because you know, I have a podcast, talks about, every now and then talks about family and health, and my audience likes hearing, you know, feel good stories. And but you know, sometimes not all stories are feel good, and that was my roundabout way of saying, I'm gonna put you on blast if you don't return my messages.
Did they return your message straight away?
Immediately. Had the program manager for the school contact me and directly and wanted to sort things out, and they wanted me to go away. But it's unfortunate that even if the school district is awesome, that you got to go through hoops to make a change. I was just pissed. I was just thinking like the staff was just playing politics and stuff, and I was pissed. And I was copying everybody on emails and messages about, and you know, the problem was my kid, he was like in, I don't know, the first or second grade, and he was getting like bopped in the nose by some other kid, and the other kid, the same kid was like throwing trash cans, and my kid was getting hurt, and other kids were also subject to all of this nonsense. And I mean, it got to a point where I was teaching my first grader, he was a first grader, yeah. I was teaching my first grader how to get a guy in a headlock. I was teaching him what it feels like to be in a headlock and how to get out of a headlock in case, you know, you had to like defend yourself. And I'm like, I shouldn't be teaching my first grader, you know, how to deal with this type of situation, because the school should be on top of these things, you know. And
yeah, I guess
so
some districts aren't as good as others. Some schools aren't as good as others. So wait, so where'd you end up with that? How'd that end up?
We my son was in a separate school from his older brother. He was in a special day class, and for whatever reason, the district had routed him to that school, which is fine. You know, it was a new school, and we figured, wow, it's a new and shiny school. It's got to be awesome. He went 1 year there, and it was great. Then the second year he attended, principal changed. The teacher that he would have been assigned to retired, and so it was a whole different administration or whatever. And they weren't on top of things. They had a teacher fill in who had no experience, and after a lot of me being upset and trying to cause waves, we eventually just took him out of that school and put him in the same school as his older brother. And it worked out. Worked out for his older brother because now he could feel like a big brother who, you know, has somebody, some other family member in the same school as him. It changes his experience, and it takes our youngest son out of a situation where he's been getting physically hurt.
That sounds like that all sucks.
It does, and you know what? We know families who have kids that stayed in that school, and they were going through similar stuff, but for their own reasons, they stuck through it. They dealt with all of the nonsense. To have a principal who just gives you lip service and doesn't show any change, it's just horrible. Especially when your kid's like getting punched in the nose and bloodied and getting hit in the head, and it ain't a good thing as a parent to hear your son talk about how someone like punched you on the chest and broke your heart. That was his way of expressing himself. I got hit in the chest and it felt like, he broke my heart. Like, really? Jeez, someone's punching you here, someone's punching you there, someone's throwing trash cans, and the principal isn't doing anything, the teacher isn't doing anything. Awful.
That sounds terrible. That does sound terrible.
It was cool, though, to teach my boys about headlocks and, groin shots and biting.
You taught them how to bite? Is that what you just...
Yeah. Like, this is what it feels to be in a headlock. So what do you have to work with here? Right in front of you, there's the groin. You to get free of a headlock, just keep banging on that area, and you got to hit the kid in the nuts. You can't hit him in, you can't you can't not hit him in the nuts because he's not going to break the hold, and you just got to keep banging away until he lets go. Should you be in a headlock and you want to get out? I'm a good dad.
That's crazy.
That's where I came from. I am. Hey, I did this.
My situation was totally different. Mine had to do with our kid was having issues with actual school administrator. So it wasn't one of those bullying by. There was some student issues, but not nearly as crazy as the administrator kind of stuff. So it was a good time to move. But we have school districts moving is tough though. I gotta tell you, you have to move to a new school district. It's not so easy. You gotta actually get within the district. You can't just say I'm gonna go to another school. So it's kind of an interesting time. But yeah, your situation seems more crazy with having to teach the kid how to bite people.
Yeah. It's easy to bite. It's easy to whack someone in the nuts. You just, but I get you. The thought of changing districts, what happens? Like, there's a gap in their education and there's time away from work. It's just one big transition. But if it has to happen, it has to happen.
Well, it depends on when it happens, right? Like in your situation, your kid was getting bullied and talking about getting hit and stuff. So okay, if that happened here, you wouldn't have to physically move to another district, right? There's in New York, there's this program or policy or law called DASA, right? It's for dignity for all students, right? And it could rise to a violation there, or if there's bullying there, you can get transferred to another school district without having to actually move. And if you do it during the school year, I know exactly what you're saying, right? There's that gap. There's a period of time where your son might be out of school because he's being bullied and he can't go, and you're working on getting the transfer and all that stuff. But in my case, it was finish up the year, move, and then enroll in the new school. So there was really no education gap or any issue with, we had to go look for a place to live and sell our house, but there was really no major disruption other than the change in the school district itself.
And it was after the school year wrapped up.
Yeah, it was basically in the summertime, right? So we started looking for a house in the wintertime in January, February, March, and we put our house up for sale on the market. It was pretty cold, and we couldn't find anything that we liked that didn't have ridiculous, $30,000 a year real estate taxes. It's, thanks to our government, you can't take all those anymore as deductions. So you only take 10,000. So there became this issue with selling a house that has high real estate taxes, buying one that has high real estate taxes. So we started looking around January, February. Sold our house like right before the school year, like the day before. I closed on it like the day before September, like the very end of August, to a family that was moving in our school district, but didn't have a place to move into. So we had to make a decision a few months before that. Okay, we're going to go ahead and rent in the school district and go ahead and just move and do it by renting. And then, we'll spend a year renting and hopefully the market changes the next year. So hopefully it'll change this year once everybody figures out all these new tax laws and creates stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, fun. And you were coaching too at the same time, weren't you?
So I've coached high school soccer for a long time. And I actually moved. So I used to coach in the school district when my kids went to, the one that we moved out of. And I actually, in moving out of the school district, I switched to coach at another school district, not where any of my kids go to school, but we actually had a great year. We lost in the state finals. So our season actually went like many weeks longer than most does. And we had a good group of kids that worked really hard and made it all the way to the state final before losing 1-0.
Wow. And then your daughters, they play as well, don't they?
Yeah, my one daughter plays soccer. My other daughter does cross country and track. So a little bit different there. Again, going to watch a cross country meet is kind of like pretty boring. Right? So they start, and you're like, yay, woo! Everybody starts, and they go off in the woods somewhere. Then you wait, 15 minutes, 16 minutes, whatever, how long it takes them to run a 5K, 20 minutes, 30, 21 minutes.
Yeah.
If the kid's slow, 25 minutes, 28 minutes, they come out of the woods, you're like, oh, woo, and they finish, and that's it. So it's totally different. It's not like watching track, right, where you can see the whole freaking thing. Like cross country, it's like, yeah, they start, and then you're like, okay, now what do I do for 30 minutes? Or something like that, and then you come back and see them finish.
And it's a 5K. It's not like a 50 miler or something, right?
Oh my God! If there's a 50 miler, forget about it. We go home for the night and then we come back tomorrow.
Yeah, some things are meant to be spectator sports. Some things not.
Very true. Well, we got to start doing these podcasts a little bit more often. Actually, I think we should try to get a guest on this podcast, and I have an idea for one.
Okay. Yeah.
I have a lot of ideas for one, but I'd love to chat with, Shannon Farrar Griefer. Shannon?
I know of her. I don't know her personally, obviously, but yeah, you talked about her.
She's super great. I think she's applying for Badwater again this year, which, by the way, applications are currently open for the Badwater 135. So if you qualify, you got a good resume, better get over there and apply this app.
Okay. I wonder if they'll consider my one-day running streak as a qualifier, as being qualified.
As a qualifier, you definitely do not qualify you got 3 more days to apply, right? You can only apply to like February 8th, but you definitely do not qualify to apply. We'd probably take your application and just rip it up with your one-day running streak.
But it's who reviews the stuff? What's the RD name again?
Chris Kosman. Well, he's got an application committee, right? So you submit the application. He's got a committee of folks that have most of them I think have run the race before, right? Great group of people, and they review the applications and they give each application a score of 1 to 10, and then they tally up the scores of all the applications that are reviewed by all the members of the committee to come up with your 100 or so that they allow into the race.
Yeah,
that's pretty much how
I don't qualify. So you were saying Shannon?
Yeah, I think Shannon will be great. Shannon's in like a Badwater Hall of Fame person, and she's applying to do it again. She just went out and did she's in the Rocky Raccoon 100, which was last weekend, and I think she DNF. She fell. Her hand was like pretty swollen, but I think she made it to like mile 90 something, or somewhere close to 90, and was almost forced to drop from the race. But I think she'd be a cool person to talk to.
Sounds great.
So I'll work on that. I'll get on top of that because you and I talking to each other has got to be boring. People must be like, this fucking sucks. Do we just become, by the way, with the little sticker that there's like cursing in it? So now, like little kids are not going to listen to anything.
Yeah, if we could figure out, whether it's a standing time, if that's even possible. I don't know if it's going to be every week or every other week. Then we can get this podcast off the hiatus train and onto a different train.
We should do it daily, man. We should do a daily podcast where we talk about all sorts of things, great news and stuff like that.
I think we could do that. We just have to commit to being on the phone with each other.
We could tie, and then you got to release it straight away. Like we could podcast tomorrow and talk about the State of the Union address.
Yeah,
that's got to be exciting. Is there like any betting on the State of the Union address?
You asking me?
Yeah. Do you know, is there any like? Can you like bet on the State of the Union? Do they have like can you get any action on the State of the Union?
Do you really? I mean, I'm not one to sit down and tune in and pay attention. That's my problem.
You believe it or not, you can take their prop bets on the State of the Union. You can bet on whether or not President Trump mentioned CNN or ISIS or NAFTA or tax cuts. You can bet on the color of the dress that Ivanka Trump is going to wear.
Oh, that's how that works. It isn't like a drinking game. Like every time someone says taxes, every time someone says taxes, you take a shot.
You can bet on whether he mentions Obama. This is great. You can bet on anything now. You can bet on anything. This is great. Cool. That's what makes the Super Bowl so much fun, right? Everybody goes out and bets on like stupid things in the Super Bowl. Who's going to win the coin toss? What are they going to call? What's the coin toss going to be? Who's going to score the first touchdown? They have all these crazy bets.
Whether or not Adam Levine is going to take his shirt off on stage, and what kind of car.
That was a definite. But I think there was some props on. I think there was some stuff on him whether or not he was going to kneel during the national anthem or something like that. Something like that. There was also the first thing you could bet. One of the things you bet on is how the length of the national anthem. Right, the over/under on the national anthem.
Are you a betting guy?
No, not really. Maybe I would go into one of those box pools. I find it fascinating, those little things you can bet on, though. I find it fascinating. I think like the little things that you can, go put money on, and it's just pretty interesting stuff. Besides just betting on games. But no, I don't do that. I don't do that kind of stuff. I would probably lose every time. I mean, I've been betting on the lottery for years. I swear I'm going to win that $100 million or something.
I grew up around sort of this culture of gambling. It was mainly a social thing, but every now and then there would be folks who would lose their mind and just blow a lot of money, and usually use cards and mahjong, that type of stuff. And it would be played in folks' houses, and it was one of those things where people bring their kids over, and the kids would just play off to the side or pass out off to the side while the adults gambled all through the night. 3 times. I got into a little bit of it. Just sort of as recreation, and I know that feeling of like that itch of like just wanting to just keep playing and keep betting, and even if you're losing, to try and crawl out of it. And I think I learned early on to pay attention to those feelings that I get when I'm playing, and I just kind of I just told myself to just quit and lose interest. So I don't, I'm like, I'll play. I'm now at a point where I'll play a game, and I don't care if I win. I don't care if I lose. I walk away, and I just sort of separate the emotions from the whole experience. And it's a reason why I'm horrible at video games, because I don't really try. I I won? Great. I lost? Great. Okay. What's next? I don't know. I don't have I guess I don't have drive.
I used to play a lot of poker, a lot of Texas Hold'em, but not so much anymore. Outside of the small like box pool, like gambling doesn't really like. It's not that exciting for me. Except I'm telling you, hit that Powerball, I'll get a little excited. I'll give a little money to the Ultra Diner if I hit the Powerball.
That would be great. We could take this show to a whole new level.
We could do that. We could totally do that.
Yeah.
Well,
we can get.
I had these. So I wanted to tell you though. Oh, sorry. I need to cut you off there. Go ahead.
No, that was like usual. I was not going to say anything meaningful.
That's typical. I know. That's why you have me. That's what's great, right? So like, so I figure we wrap this up here, and then we figure out how we can do this more often because our schedules are so like misaligned, and you being on the West Coast and all that stuff. But I had these like, I think it's cool to kind of like share things that we use in like training or in like every day or whatever. So like I have these like 3 things that I've been like trying out that I actually like I love. Like I'll have them either like, well actually I don't need anything while I'm training pretty much. So last week I ran 81 miles. 3 runs during the week were 18 miles, and they were complete. Every run, all 81 or 82 miles, whatever it was, were completely fasted. No water, no food, no nothing. So
nice.
Nice. So trying things out during running is very difficult because I don't really need anything at all when I'm running. But I have these 3 kind of products that I really like been testing out like throughout the day and trying. One is that Keto brick I mentioned, which is made by that guy Keto Savage, right? Robert Sykes. And actually, he was just on Vinny Tortorich's podcast. It was really great. And Vinny was also on his podcast, the Keto Savage podcast, another podcast that I was on also. That was pretty great. So like ketobrick.com is like good stuff. They have a new release coming out, I think this week. They sell out so fast that you have to like be ready when they come online. And they make like a cinnamon one. They make a cookies and cream kind of one, and they're really good stuff. They're pretty good. So check that out if you guys check out Keto Brick at
all right,
ketobrick.com. Then I've been trying out those drop-in F-bomb nut butters. I haven't like tried the MCT oil or the avocado oil, but I ordered a whole bunch of the nut butters, and I like the macadamia with coconut nut butter. Those are really good, and the macadamia with sea salt is also really good. So I like those. That's at dropinfbomb.com.
Yeah.
And then the last one
I'm glad
that you should try out. What's that?
Go ahead. This is the last one.
No, the last one that you should try out is so if you drink bone broth. I don't know if you drink bone broth, but I've tried like all sorts of different bone broth, and I recently ordered bone broth from TUD005. And it's super awesome. My favorite one is the mushroom chicken bone broth, which is super good. I put a little cayenne pepper in it after I heat it up, and it's really, really super good. I like it a ton. And
so you would just keep them in a flask, sort of like a vacuum flask, to keep them sort of as warm as possible or as hot as possible.
No, so it's really cool, right? Because it comes in a kind of container, like a carton or cardboard box type of container. They also make they have like a miso soup. They also have like a butternut squash soup. But I get the mushroom chicken bone broth and then the beef and the regular chicken. So it's really one package is like a serving. So you don't have to keep it refrigerated at all. I just keep it not refrigerated. And I open up a packet and I heat it up and I just eat the whole thing. Like a 16-ounce container, 16-ounce like little box.
So if you're out at an event, well, you've been training, but how would you have it warm if you were to take it with you at an event?
You'd have to find a way to heat it up. Well, listen, if you're at Badwater, you don't have to worry about it, right? You just put it out and heat it up straight away. All right, but I don't know. You could probably drink it not warm if you wanted to, but if you had to drink it warm, you can, just bring one of your portable gas stove with you or something. Have somebody heat it up for you or something like that. I mean, you have that problem no matter what. If you take a bone broth anywhere, you got to heat it up if you like to heat it. But I actually really like this one because I've tried I tried the Epic bone broth, which was pretty good, not too bad. But this one by Kettle & Fire, I like a lot.
Doesn't the Epic contain sugar?
It does, depending on which one you get. So the Kettle & Fire, the mushroom chicken doesn't, the beef and the chicken doesn't. The Epic bone broth, some of them do have some sugar in it, and I think it's the one. I think they make one with like because they make them like with cranberry or stuff like that. So yeah, they have like bison apple cider bone broth and cranberry sage bone broth. Some of those do have some sugar in it. There's 2 grams of sugar in the turkey cranberry sage bone broth, but their regular bone broth, I don't. Pardon?
I'm glad you're bringing up this topic because for my past few runs, I've stuck to the same old, I'll trickle that stuff, and then when I start needing something to munch on, I'll eat an Epic bar, and I'll keep some raw nuts with me, and every now and then I'll get something off the aid station. But I'm thinking that if I get like an F-bomb, maybe my body would be able to process and deal with that quicker as fuel versus, having a meat bar. Because there are times when I'm feeling like, I'm just struggling to just, have the energy to keep moving forward. And I think I might not be fueling right, even though I've been able to pull it off, getting through the course, but maybe there's something I need to tune, and maybe something like an F-bomb would help.
It probably would. The only thing I'll tell you with the F-bomb is if you take the nut butter, have some water with it because it is pretty thick. That's the one like negative that I had of it. It's like, it's like a nut butter or peanut butter, so it's thick. So I kind of have to wash it down a little bit if I have it. But I have it like during the day for like a little snack. I'll just open up a packet and bam, just take it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff.
Very cool.
Not too bad.
All right, man. Should we pay the check?
Yeah, this was a lot of fun, man. I really appreciate it. We got to definitely do this a little bit more. Maybe get a little more structured. Maybe not. Who knows? Whatever. But it's always fun chatting with you, man. You're a good man.
All right. I'll catch you online. We'll sort things out, and I think we have a more more going on. We'll fine tune and get into a good flow. It is what it is. But yeah, would love to, turn it into something special. Get some guests
for
on.
sure. And we have to, we have to thank us. Yeah, we have to. And we have to thank all of our sponsors. Okay. There you go.
I want to thank the Chocolate Dozen.
Actually, that should be our sponsor. Go check out the Chocolate Dozen. That's for sure. That stuff looks good.
There you go. Sounds good to me.
All right, my friend. Good chatting with you.
I'll take care of the check. I'll take care of the check this time. And
as you should, all the time.
All right. I'll catch you on the next episode, Danny.
All right, my friend. Talk to you soon.
All right. On behalf of Tony Portera, I am Ruel Abadam signing out. Thanks for spending time in the breezy spoon of ultra running, the Ultra Diner. The music that you heard at the top of the show and that you're hearing now at the end is the song Candy Wine by the band Dorothy Lane. Dorothy Lane is a band out of Martinez, California. And I wanted to thank them for being able to share their music on this podcast. So please do check out dorothylanemusic.com for more about the band, more about their music, where they're performing, follow them on social, and most importantly, support the band, buy their music, and share. Thanks, Dorothy Lane, and thanks, Diners, for tuning in and stopping by.
What's the name of this podcast?
This is the Ultra Diner.
The Ultra Diner.
What do you want to call it?
I don't know. Okay. I don't know. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Ultra Diner. I'm your co-host, Tony Portera.
Yeah.
Joined by the main host, Ruel.
This is the Ultra Diner podcast. So we'll do I'll go into some intro.
This is another Coffee with Heavy Cream production.